You know, I still can't believe sometimes that it's actually 2011. I mean, time goes by so fast. And I was just thinking recently about how it was just a few short years ago that God put it on Keisha's and my hearts to plant a church here in Peoria. And as we thought about it, as we prayed about it, as we talked to others about it, God started to draw others to want to be part of this as well. And so we began to have a vision together that we could start the church in a home somewhere here in Peoria. So the only problem was that none of us actually lived in Peoria or the surrounding area. We all lived in the East Valley, and we didn't even know anyone in this part of town. And we just kept on praying about it and saying, God, will you provide where you're leading us? And so we ended up going to a Christmas party at the end of that year, and it was not too many weeks before we were looking to start the church. We still didn't have any place, and we ran into a couple we hadn't seen in a long time, and they said, so what's new with you guys? And we said, well, we're feeling led to plant a church in the Northwest Valley, but we don't have a place to start. And they got kind of a funny look on their face, and we said, well, why? What's going on with you guys? And they said, well, it just so happens we just moved to the Northwest Valley. And before we knew it, they'd invited us to have our very first Access meeting in their home. And so all of a sudden we found we had a place to meet and we could gather together. And so it wasn't too many weeks after that first connection with that couple that we had our very first meeting here in their home. This one right here. The adults, about 20 or so folks, met in the living room. The kids met right here in this garage. We had dinner together, we had some fun together, we worshiped together, and we began to talk about the kind of church that we felt like God was calling us to be, a church where everyone would be welcome, everyone would be changed, and everyone would be needed. It was just one of those moments. And so then over the next few months, as we continued to grow, we began to pray about God taking us to the next level, that we'd have a location that we could officially launch in the community, ones that we could let people know that we were here and that we were here to serve. So we started to pray and said, God, would you give us a place, especially some place north of 75th Avenue, a school would be a great location. God, if you would give us one where we could have multiple rooms for children's classes and rooms to expand and grow in our worship experiences. Well, so as the summer of 2009 hit, we were still at a place where we still didn't have a location, so we continued to pray and said, God, would you lead us to the school you want us to launch in, until it was really getting down to the wire when we got a phone call from Sunrise Mountain High School. And they said, you know what, the school just opened up for us if you still want it. We said, you know what, we'll take it. And so we then just had not too many weeks to pull equipment together, to pull teams together, to send our mailer out. And it just came down finally to that day where on September 13th of 2009, about a year and a half ago, we launched our first official service of Access Church. And once again, what a day to see scores of new family, new people coming to our church, walking through those doors, and also just one of those moments where 6 people gave their lives to Christ as their forgiver and leader that very first Sunday. And you know, since that day, we've continued to see people come to Christ. We've continued to see people be baptized. We've seen lives touched, marriages healed. We've been able to make a difference to those in need, both in our church family and the surrounding community. In short, we've been growing in our vision to become that church where everyone is welcomed, everyone is changed, and everyone is needed. And so now it's our hope, our desire to continue to just use this facility and to grow and expand in depth and breadth as a church family, and continue to have a positive impact in the community around us and in this school that we've already developed such great relationships in. But we know that God's just getting started in the vision that He has for us. It doesn't end here. And we know that Peoria, God has great things in plan for this city. A lot of people don't know that where we sit there at Sunrise Mountain High School right now is considered the northwest part of Peoria, but someday it's going to be central Peoria. Because a lot of folks don't know that Peoria is the 4th largest city geographically in the Metro Phoenix area. But one day it's going to expand out far north and west from the place that we meet now. And one of the things that's going to help it expand is this thing right behind me. It's going to be the 303 freeway. If you can picture what the 101 brought to that part of the valley and all the buildings and all the residences, someday as Peoria grows and expands, the 303 and other things like it are going to bring all sorts of people out in this region, in our neck of the woods. And they're going to come from different parts of the valley, different parts of the country. They're going to come from all sorts of different kinds of backgrounds. But the one thing they'll have in common, whether they recognize it or not, is they're all going to need a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's what we're going to be here to talk to them about. And it's, once again, part of our vision, the way we believe that God is calling us to go, is that someday, it's our hope, it's our prayer, that He would lead us out to this area, that He would give us a place, a permanent home for Access Church, where we could build and be a launching pad for all kinds of ministry, all kinds of outreach to the surrounding community. We'd be growing as a place of impacting students and teaching children and healing marriages and making a difference in the lives of those in need in our community. And we frankly just can't wait to see what God is going to do for us in our future as we continue to put our faith in Him. Because after all, as we look back at the vision that God has completed up till now, He's been faithful in every aspect of the way. And we've really seen that where God guides, God provides. So we know He's going to continue on and be faithful to what He's shown us up to this point.